Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into the incredible life of one of Thailand's most revered monks, Luang Pho Ngoen. Now, here's the fascinating twist. His name actually means money, but his true wealth was a spiritual legacy that's lasted for centuries. Let's get into his amazing story. So this is him, Luang Pho Ngoen Phutthachoti. It's a name that honestly commands so much faith and respect all across the country. His story is just packed with incredible dedication, spiritual power, and a legacy that is still touching lives today. So, you gotta wonder, right? How does a boy from a small, quiet village grow up to become this massive spiritual icon? Well, to figure that out, we have to go way back, to the very beginning, to his humble roots in a 19th century Thai village. Okay, let's set the scene. We're talking about the early 1800s in Phichit Province, during the reign of King Rama I. This was a really formative time for Thailand, and right in the middle of it, a boy with an extraordinary destiny was born. You can't make this up. He was given this simple name, Ngoen, which literally translates to money or silver. It's such an interesting detail, especially when you consider that his life's work would have nothing to do with material riches, but everything to do with something truly priceless, faith. So he wasn't born into royalty or anything. He was the fourth of 6 kids born to a farming family in the quiet village of Bang Khlan. Just a simple rural upbringing that gave absolutely no hint of the spiritual giant he was going to become. Now, here's where things get a little hazy for historians. Some accounts say he was born in 1805, others point to 1817. But the one thing everyone agrees on, he was born in the year of the ox. It's a small but really solid detail in a life that's surrounded by legend. His spiritual journey kicked off super early. I mean, he moved to Bangkok when he was just 5 years old, became a novice at 12, and was a fully ordained monk by the time he was 22. He basically committed his entire childhood to this path, and it was a path that would lead him to some of the greatest spiritual masters of his time. All right, so he is in Bangkok, this bustling spiritual hub, and he wasn't just going through the motions. No, this young monk was on a mission. He actively sought out the greatest teachers of the era to really deepen his understanding of the Dhamma. And he didn't just learn from anybody, he went straight to the top. He became a devoted student of one of the most legendary figures in the entire history of Thai Buddhism, a connection that would completely shape his spiritual journey. And get this, his teacher was the one and only Samdet Tho of Wat Rakong. For anyone who knows Thai Buddhism, that name it's monumental. To put that into perspective for you, learning from Samdet Tho would be like a physicist getting private lessons from Einstein. He was that big of a deal. And what he learned under Samdet Tho was just incredible. It wasn't just about mastering the deep practice of insight meditation. He also got into these more esoteric arts, practices for cultivating loving kindness, and even the legendary arts of invulnerability. And this little story tells you everything you need to know about his character. When it was time for his full ordination at age 20, he actually refused. He was worried his age wasn't precisely right by the lunar calendar, so he insisted on waiting 2 more years just to make sure every single requirement was met perfectly. Talk about integrity. Finally, at age 22, the time was right. He's ordained, and he's given this amazing monastic name, Phutthachoti. It means radiance of the Buddha. And with a name like that, his path as an enlightened master really started to take shape. So after all those years of intense study in the big city, Luang Pho Ngoen felt this pull, a call to go back home, to bring all the wisdom he had gathered back to the people of his home province. And this is so telling about who he was. You know, at the time, a lot of people were into things like alchemy, kind of flashy stuff, but not him. He was all about the quiet, disciplined path of the Dhamma. For him, it was always substance over showmanship. So he began this search for the perfect quiet spot. He tried a couple of different places, staying at one temple, then another, but they just didn't feel right for his practice. Finally, he established a brand new temple in the peaceful village of Wat Tongpu. And the temple he founded there, Wat Bang Khlan, as it's known today, wow, it became this absolute beacon of faith. People would travel from all over the country to seek his wisdom, his blessings, and, as the legends say, his incredible healing abilities. And this quote, it just perfectly sums up his whole philosophy. Even though he knew all about the arts of invulnerability, He was apparently very careful about making amulets for it. He said that true strength wasn't about avoiding pain, but about enduring it. What a profound and practical idea. Now, you might think a guy who wanted a quiet life would just, stay quiet. But that's not what happened. His influence became legendary. His reputation grew far, far beyond his small village, and it still resonates so powerfully today. And his wisdom didn't just stop with him. He passed it on to so many students. Disciples like Luang Pho Phit and Luang Pho Ngoen, who then became huge masters in their own right. It's like this incredible ripple effect of his teachings spreading across the entire region. And he lived, get this, for 111 years. 111. I mean, just think about the history he saw. He lived through the reigns of 5 different kings and watched his entire nation transform around him. And for 90 of those years, 90, he was a monk. Just let that sink in for a second. 90 years of unwavering dedication to a single spiritual path. That level of commitment is it's almost hard to wrap your head around. So in 1919, he passed away peacefully from old age. He didn't leave behind any material wealth, no none in the literal sense. But what he did leave was this incredible spiritual fortune, a legacy of miracles, wisdom, and a profound faith that has easily outlasted any money. And that really makes you think, doesn't it? The story of Luang Pho Ngoen, the monk named money, it kind of leaves us all with this big question. What is the true measure of a legacy? Is it about the years you live, or is it the faith you inspire that echoes on and on through the generations?